everyone. I just wanted to jump on here to kind of verbally explain how this year's schedule is going to work because it can be a little bit confusing if you're looking at it without guidance. So this year, our students are broken up into two different cohorts. There's cohort A, and then there's cohort B. Okay, if your last name begins with the letters A through K, you're in cohort A. If your last name begins with the letters L through Z, you're in cohort B. Okay, traditionally we do a day one, a day two schedule, and that day alternates from day one to day two. We're still implementing the day one and the day two schedule. However, it's going to be a little bit different. So it's going to be day one, day two, day two, day one, day two, so on and so forth. And I'll explain why in just a minute. So if you're looking at this schedule here, Tuesday, September 8th, which is our first day of school, cohort A is going to be in person. Okay, these are the students that are physically present on this day is cohort A, and they're following a day one schedule, whereas cohort B is at home working remotely following a day one schedule. The next day, on Wednesday, cohort B is in person following a day one schedule, whereas cohort A at that time is working remotely following a day one schedule. If students are working remotely, they are working remotely from home. Otherwise, if you're in sixth grade, the students have the option to work remotely, socially distanced in the auditorium. Okay, so let me pull up a sample schedule so I can follow along here. Okay, so let's say you're in cohort A. Here's a sample schedule that you would follow. This number all the way to the left, the 1, 2, 2, 2, 4, 5, so on and so forth, that's the period number. Okay, there are 9 periods in our school day. In the parentheses, that indicates whether it's a day one or a day two class. So if there are 2 days, day one and day two, it means that this class is taken on both day one and day two. Okay, so for example, this second class here, computer literacy, that's only taken on day one. Okay, on day two, instead of computer literacy, they would go to math. Okay, so you're in cohort A, and this is your schedule. So cohort A, day one, Tuesday, September 8th, you're in person following that day one schedule. So you're going to science in person, computer literacy, math, lunch, reading language arts, so on and so forth. The next day, cohort A, you're going to be working remotely following, again, a day one schedule. Okay, so you're following that day one schedule 2 days in a row. That third day on Thursday, cohort A, then you're back in person, but this time you're following your day two schedule. Okay, and then the next day, cohort A, on Friday, you're working remotely, and again, you're following the day two schedule. Okay, and then so on and so forth. Again, the next day you'll be in person following day one, then remote day one, so on and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to use the same schedule as an example for cohort B. That first day of school, cohort B, on September 8th, you're going to be working remotely. So whether you're home or in the auditorium, you're working remotely following a day one schedule. Then on Wednesday, cohort B, you're going to be working in person, again following a day one schedule. Okay, then Thursday, you're going to be working remotely following a day two schedule. Then on Friday, you're going to be working in person following the day two schedule. Okay, I hope this video helps clarify how this schedule works and how day one and day two are broken up. Thank you.